So, choking on popcorn. Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's the Ceremonial Witch back here again for another Ceremonial Witchcraft. I am Corey LeBlanc, and I'm finishing up my popcorn. Fucking delicious. Just your regular salty, fucking shitty popcorn in a bag. Not like the one you put in the microwave, the one you buy from the store. That's already in a bag, already cooked. I don't like eating things out of the microwave. Doesn't mean this one probably isn't done in the microwave. It probably is, but if I don't know it, at least I won't think about it. And yes, it can be that simple. What you don't know can't hurt you. So if you don't know cell phones cause cancer, or you don't know radiation, I don't know. Anyways, what you don't know can't hurt you. That's pretty self-explanatory. So if you don't think things are bad for you, then they can't be bad for you. So living an ignorant life can be the secret to life. It can be as simple as that. But I think ignorance can only last so long, and then you're either shown or forced, or you get, you learn that what you know is not true and not accurate. Even the ignorant have to one day wake up. But anyways, so, hey, this is my second episode today. However, the first episode was me talking for about 5 minutes, and then KRS Astrology talking. And I only put that on there because it was about intuition. And he mentions Barbara McKenziak, and she was the person I put on here for her book, Bringers of the Dawn, which I didn't even know that video on YouTube was the book itself. They hit it pretty well, which is awesome. Because, you just put Barbara McKenziak and you put the book on YouTube as like an audio book, it's going to get shut down. But if you write, this is the Palladian video that triggered my Kundalini awakening. Well, that's not going to get pulled down. They're not even going to think that's a book. But anyways, besides the point, today I want to talk about something different, but also the same. And what I mean by that is, first I want to talk about Sam Hain. Sam Hain. Not the video I made today, but the previous video before this one, on Halloween Day, or the day before Halloween. No, it was Halloween Day. I think I made it. Made a video talking about Sam Hain a lot. And first of all, I just want to say I know it's not pronounced Sam Hain. I know it's Samhain, but I didn't want to say that in case there's some people who don't know what Samhain is. Okay? And they're wondering. So at least if I say Sam Hain, there's a better chance that they're going to spell it right and look it up. Sam Hain, you're going to think of hopefully Haines at least, which is close, even though it's H-A-I-N and not H-A-N-E, but you still might come up with the same result. But anyways, I know it's Samhain. However, whether Samhain is, whether the dumb supper and all that shit is, you're doing it because you're scared of the spirits or you're doing it to respect the spirits. For me, I'll call it Sam Hain, and my Sam Hain practice is to put out alcohol, smoke, and food for my dead ancestors so I can honor them, so I can love and respect them and tell them to thank you for all we've done. Thank you for meeting, saving a significant other and having kids, and their kids having kids, and eventually having me and teaching these great values to them, and especially my Grandma LeBlanc side. Thank you for being a witch and telling us those stories so that I heard them as a kid and it anchored it inside me and made me able to know this. And this is part of why I play this stuff out loud in my house. Part of why I'm semi-open about this stuff. I'm not just going to go up to my kids and start teaching them, hey, Jesus is wrong, Jesus is not real and all this. But I'm not going to not play this stuff out loud. I'm not going to turn it down if one of them walk in the room and they hear something. I have to ask me a question. I'm not going to not answer them. And the reason for that is the same reason that I believe, ancestral witches is more likely that, if you grew up around a bunch of your ancestors, your family line that believe they were witches, well, as a child, you heard those stories and it made it real in your head, in your subconscious mind. And the longer the more you remember that as you got older, it was still in you. So it ran the program that being a witch, having these powers, is a possibility. So then when you grow up, you could actually have some of those depending on your chart and stuff like that, which is what I believe is true. So by me doing what I'm doing now, learning this new age / magical / witchcraft, ceremonial magic / spirituality / psychology / hypnosis / whatever you want to keep slashing it up to be, by me learning this and playing it out loud and stuff like that, it's going to get anchored in my children's minds, so that if this becomes the norm later on, as the progression is happening and it is looking like that, Age of Pisces was all about Jesus. That just ended. When the Age of Aquarius, what was Pisces? Pisces was a fish. Fish swim in water. What does Aquarius do? Aquarius is dumping out the fucking water. There you go, fish. You're about to die. I'm not saying Jesus is going to die. I'm just saying the religion isn't going to be as prevalent as it once was. And we can already see that happening between all the bad things, like all that priest stuff I talked about last time that I don't want to bring up anymore. If I'm going to talk about that, it's going to be one episode. I'm going to seclude that episode. I'm never going to talk about it again because I don't like talking about that kind of stuff. But I went there, I said it, and I'll leave it as it is. But going forward now, between that stuff that the priests are doing, between all these new religion spiritualities opening up, more people jumping on board and realizing something's wrong with all these whistleblowers coming out and condemning all these things. I mean, it's a matter of time until it all goes underground. I'm not saying that's good or bad. A world without Christianity could be worse than a world with Christianity. Or it could be better. There's no way to know. It really isn't. What Christianity did do was bring order, and, in a time that may not have had much order. We don't know how it was back then. We have no idea. Maybe everybody was happy and free, and they just came in and they said, no, we don't want this. We said, no, what everybody's capable of, we want to know everybody's name, we want everybody to pay taxes, we want everybody to do this. So they used the religious doctrine, indoctrinated everybody, used the guise of God to make sure they keep tabs on everybody. Make sure everybody is, whatever. But we don't know. We don't know what a world with or without that may or may not be like. We do know is change is inevitable. Change is coming. We do know that for something to be replaced, for something new to happen, the old thing has to break, right? You're not going to get new plumbing in your house if your old plumbing works. But when your old plumbing starts having problems and it's not working well anymore, fucking up, then you're either going to break it, pull it out of there, and put a new one in, or you're going to wait till it's completely shit and broken, and then finally replace it. But the point is, something has to be broken for you to replace it. For the old system that we have now, for this system that we have now to be replaced or changed, it has to break. It has to go to shit. So to bring in the good, to bring in what we want, well, things got to go real bad first. And, that's what we're probably going to see. Everybody's going to freak out and be like, oh my God, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think everything's just going to keep going on. It's going to seem bad. It's going to seem like, what the fuck's going to happen? And you can let your anxiety get the best of you and just fucking think everything's going to go to shit and imagine things in your head twice as worse as they actually are and bring those to life if you want. That's the stupidest thing you can do. But I would say just roll with the punches. Know that change is inevitable. So this is part of change. And that, for this old system to go, it has to be completely broken. And then first of all, people running the old system aren't going to want to just give it up. So there is going to be some backlash there. But, you don't have to give it and go down to their level. Just let it be. Let the inevitable change happen. And roll with the punches and keep your family safe. And everything will work out. I truly believe that. But anyways, that's not what I want to talk about today either. I want to talk about Planetary Magick and shit like that. But so I was saying Samhain, even though I know it's Samhain. I was saying Samhain because my practice is different from traditional witchcraft, because I do the dumb supper, and I celebrate Halloween. But it's all one thing for me. I use like I said in a few episodes ago, I use the fact that the children go around. It's an idea I got from Birch. Although Birch doesn't say to, use it as an offering or anything like that. But, he said that the kids are playing the part of the ancestors going around getting candy from people, and the people that don't give candy, you're supposed to play a trick on them, right? and all that. But I said in a video, like, well, if your kid's going out for Halloween and you can't make an altar and all that, well, at least dedicate the costumes. Your kid's going out playing your part. Say that we're doing this in honor of the ancestors. You know, that we're honoring you guys by doing this. You know what I mean? And use it as an offering to them if that's the only thing you can do. And you know, that's pretty cool. And that's part of my Samhain tradition. I call it Samhain because to me it's Samhain. And it's as simple as that. I say it how it is because I'm not Irish. Samhain, I think is actual the pronouncing. I think that's what Birch said anyways. That's the actual pronunciation. It was Samhain, or something like that. But it's Irish, and I'm not Irish. I may have a fucking like 18th of Irish in my blood because my grandmother, who not my witch grandmother, but my other grandmother, she's got a lot of Dutch, Netherlands, and I believe Irish was also in her bloodline. So by the time that trickles down to me, I mean it's pretty diluted. But anyways, so Samhain to me is, you know, me offering the kids Halloween shit like that to, you know, being a symbol of respect to my ancestors. And on top of that, I do the dumb supper as well. And, you know, some pretty cool things happen. You know, I don't have a picture of my grandfather, my mother's father, but he was in the army and stuff like that. And that's one of the most prevalent memories I have of him. So I had a poppy, being that they're selling poppies. So that poppy represented him on my altar. Okay. But I had a picture of my grandmother, his wife, on there. So I put those two things together. And then I have a picture of my other grandfather, but I had another momentum that was his that I put on there. And then I had one of my grandmother, and then I have one of my wife's grandmother, and one of her great grandmother also on there. So, but and then on my candles, I wrote, you know, to all my ancestors that I know and do not know. And my other candle was asking for, you know, not asking them for anything, but you know how when you give a gift, let's say someone in your family doesn't have enough money to pitch it in a gift, but you write your name on the card anyways. Well, I kind of did that for my whole family. Because, you know, they don't practice this stuff, but it doesn't mean I want them to get fucked with, or I want them to, you know, not be protected and shit like that, because I know 100% my mom is thinking about, you know, her passed on relatives. I know my dad, he tries not to, that's why, you know, but it's inevitable. You know, my sister too, and my wife, and my kids, so I put their names on the candle as if, you know, please, you know, I don't even put my name on it. I just ask for them to be protected, and you know, because I can hold my own. But maybe I did put my name. Well, I signed my name, right? I signed my magical name and shit like that. But anyways, well, I put that on the candles, and what was pretty cool is I had a dream that night. I had a dream that I was driving in the car with my grandma and grandpa LeBlanc and my grandma and grandpa Janot. And they were both in the car with me, both couples, and I was driving, and my grandpa LeBlanc was beside me in the passenger seat, and then my grandma was on the my grandma LeBlanc was in the back seat behind me on the driver's side, back seat window, and then my grandpa Janot was in the middle, and my grandma Janot was on the right of him behind the passenger seat. And we're all driving in my car, my wife's car, my wife's Ford Fusion, and that was pretty cool. And that was the same night of Samhain, because I got home at around 11:10, so I had to do this pretty fast. I put a couple of sweets out because my grandmother was both grandmothers were good at baking and shit like that. My grandma LeBlanc was a little more known for it, but my grandma Janot was no stranger in the kitchen, and she knew what she was doing too. But so I had a couple of sweets out there for food. I had some tobacco out there. I had rum. I had whiskey. I had a bunch. I think I had 7 incenses. That I had to keep coming down and lighting. And every time I came down, man, my dog was acting so weird in the kitchen, which told me, you know, something's there, something's happening, something's around, and maybe it's just the ambiance I created with the candles and everybody's names on it, and the intentions and the alcohol, and the fact that, you know, I've told everybody that I got over being scared of spirits, but it doesn't mean that on a day where I know more likely the possibility of seeing one is definitely an option. Doesn't mean I'm going to stick around. There's a reason I had this altar in a different room that I was in. And I had to keep coming back to light up the incense. I don't know, just because I got over my fear and I'm able to see spirits now without freaking out, doesn't mean I always want to be around them 100% of the time. I like doing magics that don't include spirits most of the time, to be honest. I'm not going to lie about that. But I did get over my fear. It's just not, same thing with bees, right? I can be around a bee. I can kill a bee now, but I don't want to be around them. It's not like it's like, it's the complete opposite now. I love bees. I'm going to fucking just rub them on my face and think everything's going to be okay. It's not how it works. I still have this inclination to, my instinct kicks in and with, oh, you got to run. Remember, you're scared of this. And it's like, no, remember, I'm not anymore. Remind myself of that. But anyways, so I thought that was pretty cool. On the same night that, quote unquote, the ancestors come back to check on their offspring. Then I put out offerings and all that, and 4 out of the 7 people I represented on my altar were in a dream the same night. I'm driving with them, and I was with them. It wasn't like just having a dream of them because I was thinking about them. No, we were all in the same car together, which is impossible because when they were all alive, I didn't have a license yet left. My grandmother was the last one to pass, and I may have had my license when she was alive. But the rest of them, no. My grandfather, maybe my learner's permit, maybe my G2 being in high school, but other than that, the rest of them, so it's not like this is a memory I've ever had. So it's like it's something I've ever even thought about consciously, because why would I think about driving about with my grandparents? You know what I mean? It's not something that could ever been happen. But on the same night that they're supposed to come down and visit and shit like that, I have this dream, and we're all in the car together. And whenever, as soon as I realized that this was a dream, because that happens most of the time now, because of all the dream work I try to do, almost, probably 80, not 99, but, I'm probably like a good 89% of the time when I'm dreaming now, I wake up because I realize I'm in a fucking dream. And before I can take control of it and try to do things so that I can, because if you could manifest stuff in your dreams or make your dreams, whatever happened in your dream, if you can consciously take control of your dreams, okay, this is like doing ritual, doing magic on steroids, okay? This is the best way to make things happen because your subconscious is at the front, right? But if you can take over in your dream, which means you have control over your subconscious, especially during the dream state, and you can start making your life the way you want it in the dream, like, okay, well, I'll open up the thing and you just imagine there's going to be a check there, right? Because you have control of your mind. So you can take control. You can make things start happening. So boom, there's $1 million check in your fucking thing. Doesn't matter why. Boom. Well, this is going to filter down into your life. This is like doing magic. This is why we get into a trance and we try to put suggestions into our subconscious mind. But if you're dreaming, your subconscious mind is making everything happen. That's why Inception was a pretty cool movie. But if you can actually take that over, then yeah, you're fucking golden. Like that's the goal. This is why you practice lucid dreaming. This is why you practice outer body experiences. This is why people want to astral project. It's not just for the fun times and to kick it around and to be able to fly in your dreams and all that. It's to be able to do the magic associated with this, because this is the best form of magic, I think. I've never done it, but from what I read, like portal grade stuff, like if you can fucking do this, you are set. That's hands down set. Like anything you want, if you can take control of your dreams and make it happen in your dream, then you're literally boom. There's no chance. There might be a little bit of a wait time depending on what has to happen, but it's 100% in your subconscious mind and it has no choice to happen. Whereas, doing your ritual magic, as soon as you think of something that you want and all that, and you take the steps and you do your ritual, well, if you have programming against it, then, it might not happen. If your conscious mind can block it somehow, it might not happen. If your subconscious mind can try to get out of it, like via a loophole, saying, I want to be rich. Well, technically, you're part of if you take the whole world on the world scale, anyway, making over $30,000 Canadian or US is technically part of the 5% of the richest people in the world. Well, technically, your subconscious mind is going to be like, holy fuck, you're already rich. I don't have to do anything. He's asking for something, here it is. So that's why you have to be definitive. But if you do something in your dream, or you make yourself rich, right? Because you're not just saying I want to be rich in your dream. No, you're going to make your house the way you want it. You're going to make your car the way you want it. The way you perceive something rich to be. This is when it comes back to the whole Symbolism is a language of the subconscious mind. If you're trying to tell your subconscious mind you want to be rich, well, your subconscious mind is going to go by, well, what's rich? Rich is having this much money because the rest of the world most of the world has this much money or less. So if you're above that, well, then you're already rich. But to you, being rich means you have 4 cars, a fucking boat, maybe a G5 jet, 3 houses in 3 different states, and then this and that, right? So in your dream, you're not even just going to tell your subconscious mind. You're going to make that happen. And it's going to see exactly what you want. This is why dream work is the best kind of magic to do. If you can take over your fucking dream and make whatever happen in your dream, or do like I said, right, record what you want to happen in your dream, like a narrator, like a story, the story you write in your journal of how you want your life to be. If you were to take that and read that into a recorder and put that recorder on every night, and in the hopes that your dream starts playing out like that. Well, this is a way you could take over your dream without actually taking over your dream. And it's worth a shot because I've had it come very close to it. It's not exactly the way it works out because your dream ends up taking over, especially whenever you know like something weird is happening and then you lose it. But point is, if you can record down, if you write a story of how you want, all the things you want to happen, as if you're a narrator and all that, well, the reason that'll possibly come into effect using like law of attraction stuff and all that, it's because in your mind as you're writing it, you're visualizing it happening, and then you might even get the feelings inside of you like, holy fuck, this is awesome, you know. That's why artists and stuff like that, Grant Morrison, super residual when he made his fucking comic book, why do you think that is? He was writing the comic book, he made the dude look like him, he's picturing it in his mind as he's making the comic, and you know, he got into it, he got excited, like thinking this is awesome, putting emotion into that. That's why everything in the comic happened to him. You could do the same fucking concept. This is easy magic. This is not even what I was supposed to talk about today. This is just coming out because I said I wanted to give planetary tips and shit like that, how to do planetary magic using moon polarity, Jupiter polarity and shit like that. But this is another great way to do it, you know. If you write all this shit down, put emotion while you're writing it, and visualize it while you're writing it, and you're all into it like a story, it's gonna happen. It's got no choice but to happen. And not only is it, because when you're anxious, when you're stressful, when you're depressed, what happens? Well, you start thinking of all the bad things that are going to happen or possibly happen to you, right? It's like a downward spiral, and you start thinking about all the ways your life is going to go to shit. And if you put that fear emotion into that, because like you start thinking about like, oh fuck, I hope to God it doesn't happen, you know what I mean? Because it's so terrible. But you put that fear emotion into it, then it's likely going to change. Well, what you're doing when you're writing down all the things you want to happen is you're doing the opposite as the anxious, depressed state that you're in. But it's still magic nonetheless. It's still the way our lives get determined. So if you're writing down all the things you want to happen and you get into it, like, you're not just writing down bullet form, I want this, I want this, I want this. Okay, am I done yet? Because if you do it like that, then nothing's going to happen. Yeah, it's just stupid. I mean, keep doing it every night until you get into it maybe and get more ideas or carry that around or read it before bed. You know, you can still have an effect. But if you're to write it down and, you know, visualize things and put it together like a story, right? Don't just write, well, I want to be skinny and I want to have a new car. I want to get a promotion at my job and I want my brother or sister to be healed and all this. No, say, as I lost 50 pounds, I got promoted at work at the same time, which allowed me different hours so that I could work out, and I was able to go shopping, and I found a car that was in my price range that I was able to get, and then I drove to Ottawa and I found out my brother no longer has cancer, and I was so happy and ecstatic. You know, you write a fucking storyline like that, and then, you know, you visualize it, you put it in emotion. But if you were to fucking record that and listen to that every night, you might be able to influence your subconscious mind while you're sleeping to make that happen in your dream, is all I'm saying. But anyways, that's not even what I wanted to talk about. I'm way off topic. So in my Samhain dream, I had my grandma and my grandpa's, both grandmas and my grandpas, come, and they were hanging out with me. We were all driving together. We were listening to a song, and we were, you know, they weren't headbanging or anything, but they were like bopping out to, you know, a little bounce going on. And anyway, so as always, I find it weird, but on days I do magic at night, when I do rituals at night, when I try to make things happen, because even at work I wrote a sigil spell too for something completely different. But I don't know the percentage on this or the fraction or anything, but more often than not, okay, these nights I wake up and I have sex with my wife. And what I mean by that is I wake up and I'm already in the motion of sex, as if my subconscious started doing it on its own, and then I come to, and it's like, oh, okay, we're fucking. Kind of like when I was 4 years old, the first thought I remember was whenever I was being called a liar. It's similar to that, because, yeah, the same night after when I realized I woke up from that dream, this is going to sound strange, because I don't want to take it from my family to a sexual thing, but this is exactly what happened, right? So the minute I realized that I wasn't dreaming anymore, I was eating out my wife. I was going down on her. So that's strange. But and you think about sigils, you think about magic, right? Well, let's talk about sigils. Well, what's the best way to get a sigil imprinted in your subconscious mind? It's to jerk off looking at it, right? For a man or woman, masturbate, whatever, okay? Either pain or pleasure, because it puts it in your mind. That's like the little death, right? And there's something to be said about that. If you listen to my last episode, the Palladians or Barbara or whoever talks a lot about the sexual orgasm, how important it is, blah, 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 blah. I find that strange, and I'm not even going to hit that, why that might be, but I'll just leave it at that. You know, when sigil magic, you want sigil magic to work out, you have to come. Well, basically, I just came out of a dream. Subconscious is still at the forefront, and then, you know, I've inevitably had an orgasm, basically, after we were done, after she got hers, and then I got mine. So I find it weird that the days I try to perform magic, I do that. So is it like my body telling me, well, you should put those two things together, dumbass? Or I don't know. And maybe that's why my things are happening more often, too, because, you know, they're in my mind somewhere, whether I'm consciously thinking about it or my subconscious is working on it whenever I end up having the orgasm. Either way, they're somewhere there. So who knows? That's just something you could look into if you want, but I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so, but Samhain is important because we honor our ancestors, and not so much about worrying about our ancestors or spirits coming and fucking with us. And I don't mean the same way I was fucking with my wife. I mean like torturing us or tormenting us, sorry is a better word. Tormenting is more like, you know, hiding your keys and not letting the electricity come on and whatever, hiding your shoes or the remote or whatever. Making the milk go bad, the eggs go bad, shit like that. Torturing is, you know, like fucking, you get up fucking from grabbing a candy and you slice your fucking temple or the side of your head with the fucking shelves your wife just put up. And I say this because that's exactly what happened to me. I got a huge gash on my head, and you can say, well, holy fuck, you pissed off your ancestors. Well, maybe, but, or maybe is it that they pushed me out of the way because my own stupidity when I turned around not realizing that I was there. Maybe I was about to get it right in the corner of the eye, and somehow they managed to make it only just a scrape because it could have been a lot worse. I could have lost my eye, right? The corner was right there. So I'll leave that up to you. But I'm not pessimistic. I'm optimistic, and I believe that more likely that they prevented me from getting even more harm done than they were the ones that actually gave me the harm. But anyways. So, our spirit's fucking with us, and I talked about Christians in my last episode that they only worship God, and I said like God being a positive energy, right? And I mean when I say positive energy, I'm literally talking about like electricity, like positive electricity, positive ions, like the way Birch explained it. Okay, they're only worshiping the positive, and I don't want people to think positive ions are all bad, because yes, too many positive ions will give you cancer, disease, make you depressed, shit like that, for sure, 100%. Watching too much TV will do that, and you can say, well, watching too much TV, it's because, you know, you're watching all these people having great lives and you compare your life to it. Sure, yeah, 100%. Well, you're trying to say it's just a positive ions. And yeah, sure, 100%. You're going to say it can't be both. And yes, it can. It is both. Those positive ions coming out of that TV are to help that thought you just said about people having a great life on TV. They're there to force that in your head to make it a hypnotic trance-like thing. And the lights are there. There's a reason too many flashing lights give people seizures. I said this before. I'm not going to get into all the science about that, but look it up and you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's accurate. But point is that those positive ions do make bad things happen. And you could say, well, it's because of this. Doesn't matter. The positive ions are there, and because they're there, these bad things happen. All right. If you're just having these thoughts about other people having better lives than you, you're not going to get depressed in the same way as whenever you're watching a TV seeing it. It's a whole different level. But anyways, positive energy, where was I going with that, is imbalance when you only worship a positive energy. This is why we honor the negative energy, honoring the dead, just like we celebrate death, instead of mourning the dead. Christians, um, fuck, how am I gonna put that? Even when people die, attribute it all to God. So, so their only deity, God, is both good and bad at this point, right? If when someone dies, it's because it's part of God's plan, right? And the devil is evil, and he's the reason for all the bad in society, and this is why it's imbalanced. Because only using being positive is not good. Spreading positivity is good, okay? So I'm not saying that, because spreading positivity is 100%. It's a good thing, and it's better for us. It's good vibes and all that. But too many positive ions create disease, depression, and so many more things I can go into. Maybe that's why there's so many people getting cancer. If all the people are praying, worshiping only a positive energy, positive ions, hoping that the God energy come and help this person. Well, if that's only a positive energy, only an air energy, right? What do you think is going to happen? The positive force needs, it needs the negative force for balance. Like Jupiter is an energy that expands what you want, or your sign and house in your chart that Jupiter is in. But Jupiter is a water sign, but it can give you more of what you want or what you don't want. It is a tip on. This is a tip on how to use the negative polarity to get or expand your cash. So, like I said a long time ago about me, I had to really think about the whole negative and positive polarity thing. And I said this in my first video that I put on today, that a negative polarity is normally good for a purge, black magic, so in the waning part of the moon. Okay, that's a good time to pull shit out of you and get rid of shit, banish shit. And likewise, waxing is a good time to push or get money, have money, make whatever. But for me, I like to pull things to me, and pulling is a negative because you're getting rid of space. Whereas when you're pushing something away, you're adding space, right? You push something away from you, you get more space. When you pull something to you, you have less space because now that thing is right onto you. You're bringing it closer. Is one way to look at it. Your left hand is negative, your right hand is positive. Is another way to look at it. Your left hand would hold the wand, which is supposed to pull things to you, and your positive hand is supposed to hold the dagger, which is supposed to push things away from you, right? Something comes out of the dagger, but something comes to the wand. It's magnetic, and this is electric, right? So, and down that line of thinking, what I'm saying is completely accurate. But when you go by what people say about the moon waxing and waning, it's not so accurate. But this is how I made sense of it, and it's a little trick that I used, okay? But Jupiter being a negative water, right? Because Jupiter is a guy, but he's negative water. It's kind of like Saturn being air, but likes to be exalted in Venus, right? Earth, and can be considered as an earth sign because he rules the earth realm. All right, so this is why you can think of Saturn as being that spirit mark instead of the air, right? Because here's the problem: we have 3 air signs. We have Mercury, we have the Sun, and we have Saturn. Now, Mercury is both male and female, and he is, air, and he has the caduceus or canon, Archangel Raphael, shit like that, which is tied to Scorpio, which is a water sign. So to me, I like to put Mercury as actually the spirit element, even though everybody in astrology likes to say Mercury is more the conscious mind and all this and that. And I get those correspondences, I really do. But when it comes to using him in astrology, planetary magic, you can call him Archangel Raphael, which is part of him, Hermes Thoth, which is part of him. And being that he's both male and female, like Hermes, her androgynous, hermaphroditic, it seems a good place to put him there, but he is supposed to be the messenger for the gods, so to put him as spirit, it seems unlikely. But you can use Jupiter and Saturn to oppose each other to balance yourself out. If you're too much like Saturn, well, implementing some Jupiter is going to help you out. If you're too much like Jupiter, well, implementing some Saturn will balance you out. Same with the sun and the moon, right? These are both air and water signs. Air and water are opposite each other, right? But within the polarity, the sun and Saturn can also have a battle as well, right? Because the sun says, yes, I can. The Saturn says, no, you fucking can't. And, you know, it has to work it out. But if you go opposite, air to water, okay, the sun opposes the moon, and Jupiter opposes Saturn. But you can do the other two as well. Saturn versus the moon, Jupiter versus sun, but it works better when you have those two males going against each other, and then the male and female going against each other, because you have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then you have Jupiter, you know, who is spirit, who is higher learning, all this, you know, the benevolent king who wants to give you all, and then you have Saturn, who is limitation, restriction, all that, right? So, anyways, but Jupiter being the negative water, the opposite would be positive Saturn. Saturn is an air sign, mostly, but is limitation, restriction. This is a tip on how to banish with positive energy. See, once again, remember I said Jupiter, you know, you can use to pull things to you. If you want to expand your money, you're going to use Jupiter. But he's a negative sign, so he might be better invoked during a negative moon time, or, you know, on his day, but in negative, during the negative, you know, the negative part of the moon. Versus Saturn, whenever you're trying to push things away, you know. Anyways, I'm just trying to give out hints here, okay? Because Saturn, he's an air sign, but Frederick Xavier says it herself, well, Saturn's a good sign to use to banish stuff out of your life. Banishing poverty, you know what I mean? Get rid of poverty. That's using negative to have a positive ends, right? Which is a very smart thing to say and tell people. I use that all the time. But Saturn is an air sign, and air sign is positive, but air is would be like your wand, right? It's your negative, but you're positive. So, and then your dagger is like your fire. But anyways, so those are just some little tips on how to use some planetary magic. But to expand something in your life that wasn't good. Okay, talking about Saturn again. If you want to expand something in your life that, Jupiter. But if Jupiter was expanding something in your life that wasn't good, like disease or being over emotional, then using Saturn to add or create restrictions or limitations to your circumstance would be a great way to reduce your issue. All right, so the same goes for the sun and same goes for the sun. The conscious mind, too much ego, arrogant, and then using moon would level you out. These are examples of planetary magic that work. Point is, there is these energies, polarities that we have, and only using one positive God can only accomplish certain things, and it is that positive force, Saturn, Satan, or Sun, God, or Mercury, like I said, it says the Spirit, Holy Spirit, whatever you want, or the positive fire of Mars, Satan, right? So out of there, we had two good ones and two bad ones, or Jesus, which would be more like Jupiter. But get what I'm trying to say? This is why imbalance. This is why they're in a state of unbalancedness, you know, the Christians, because their God is just a positive energy. You know, and which positive energy is that? You know, is that the Saturn energy? Is that Mercury? Is it, you know, they don't have it defined. They have just these people praying to God, and, you know, that's one energy that can only accomplish certain things. Is what I guess what I'm trying to get at here. And for a well-rounded, more balanced way, you need to have Venus and Mars and the Moon and Jupiter, and then up top, Mercury, Venus, Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn. You know, these are 7 different aspects to accomplish different things in your life, and that's why these things have more power and are easier to do. Where was I? Okay. this is why they're in balance, and how you can maintain balance in your magic and in your life. In 2020, Jupiter will be opposed Saturn, but that's a whole other thing. But these forces have measurable effect on us. The sun is obvious. I've said it in my last video, 2 videos ago, or 2 episodes ago, that if the sun was gone, we'd all die. We'd freeze or whatever. Because even in the wintertime, the sun keeps us relatively warm, especially here in Canada. You know what I mean? Like, when the sun's gone, well, it's on the other side of the earth or whatever. But, if you stay outside at night on a really cold night, you could die, right? Imagine if it was like that all the time. Well, how long would you last? But anyways, the sun is obvious. If you're wondering, I have a lot of notes here, and I'm trying to take from, because I wrote all this down. It all came to me. But the moon controls the tides, water, just like the water in our body. This is why when the moon is waxing and waning, you should do the same polarity in your magic, because the water in your body is more positive or more negative. Another clue, but how you word. Sorry, I'm having trouble speaking right now. This is like a sentence I wrote down. It's not making sense. But anyways, so the polarity of the moon is the same as the polarity going on in your body at that time of the month. The moon is like this gauge, this energy gauge on what to use, right? So when the moon is waning, then you're going to want to use, because your polarity in your body is also waning. So you want to use that same energy in your magic. And when it's waxing, the water in your body is going to be waxing. This is why I'm saying these things are above us, below us, and they control what's within us. And this is why this has power. This is why you can use law of attraction all day long. Some things you'll get, some things you won't get. It's very similar to only praying to one positive God. You're only using one aspect of a bigger problem, a bigger equation. But when you put all these things in to focus, then it's obvious on how to do it. Now, it might be more complicated, but, well, you want to just say, well, fuck it, this is too complicated to understand, and I'm not even going to bother trying, and I'll just let life have its way with me and never get it and just keep suffering. Well, then go for it. If a little bit of work is not worth not suffering, well, then yeah, go be fucking lazy and watch TV. But if you want to fucking learn something and do shit right, well, yeah, you're going to have to put in some fucking time to do it. Otherwise, yeah, turn this podcast off. It ain't for you. Simple as that. But anyways, but the moon controls the tides. This is why we use the same polarity in our magic as when the moon is waxing and waning, because the water in your body is more positive or negative. Another clue, but how you word it and define it. And how, what I mean by that is the same thing I just said, what your push and pull is, right? Yeah, that's what I mean by defining it. Sorry, my fucking notes I'm not going to use them anymore because I keep fumbling over the words here, what I'm trying to say. But the rest of it, I'm pretty sure I know what it's about. So I'm just going to put the book right here beside me so I stop fucking around. But yeah, so I need a breath here. What I mean by that is the same thing I just said. Using negative or positive ways to either push or pull things to you. And you can use both, doesn't matter. It all depends on what you're more powerful with. And for me, I have a more negative vibe. I have a more negative energy in my body. I have more female placements, negative placements. So the negative part of the month is more powerful for me because I'm better at that. Or it's more in line with my body. So when my water in my body from the moon is of a negative polarity, what's easier for me to attract things to me using negative polarity? And you can say, well, how do you attract things with negative polarity? That's what positives for. No, positives for repelling things. There's a reason they use a cross, a plus sign in fucking exorcism. Think about that. But anyways, so going on and what I just said, okay? Last time I talked about the moon and controlling the women, okay? I said without the moon we would die, all right? I remember saying that. And you're probably like, well, how can the moon, the moon is just something, it's a luminary, it's in the sky, the sun shines, and the moon reflects that shine. And you're right. But the moon governs a water and a body, as I just said, our polarity of our body, of our moon. That's judged by the moon. But more than that, women, all right? Water, women, the menstrual cycle. The releasing of the new egg that's no longer new. It gets flushed out of the women through the menstrual cycle, and then a new egg is poured. This is all timed from the moon. Okay, if this process didn't happen, then we wouldn't be able to procreate, and humanity would have died a long time ago. So when I say the moon is essential to our life, this is what I mean. And just like the sun governs way more than, just without the sun we would die. Well, no, without the plants taking photosynthesis in from the sun, giving themselves energy that the animals then eat, and then we then eat the animals. Or if you're like me, you eat plants and you eat things that, don't have a heart. That should be living. If you don't eat those things, if you're eating mostly plants and stuff like that, which is probably, the Garden of Evil, or Garden of Eden, right? You can eat from this, but don't eat from this. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But the moon controls a whole lot. And from what I just said there about the eggs and the woman's menstrual cycle, right? The moon governs that, let's say. Well, the moon is representative of your subconscious mind. People might not understand that. Well, hopefully what I'm about to say can help with that, because what I just explained about the woman's menstrual cycle is not something the woman actually thinks about. Women doesn't tell her body, like my wife or any of my daughters, whenever the time comes, they're not going to say, hey, I want you to get rid of those eggs and put new eggs in me. Or, no, keep those eggs there because I want to keep trying to get pregnant. You don't have that kind of control. You don't have that kind of control over your body. Your subconscious mind does. That's why we implant stuff into our subconscious mind to filter out, because our subconscious mind is vastly more important, and it controls inside and outside, as within, so without. But to prove to you that the moon is part of your subconscious mind, and mostly for women, but for men too. I don't mean only mostly for women, that the moon is more important to women than men. I just mean that this example is gonna show more for women than men, but it's equally for both of us. But that process I just explained is the process that is done through your subconscious mind, right? Your subconscious mind would tell your eggs when to flush out, when to have your menstrual cycle, right? And the more in tune you are with the moon and outdoors and all that, the better off you're going to be. But no matter what, this is a good example of how the moon represents your subconscious mind, because I just told you the moon is in charge of your menstrual cycle, and you can go look this up. You're going to see that it controls the tides of the planet as well. The tides are higher, the tides are lower, right? That's the polarity I'm talking about once again. But that's just a good way to look at it for you understanding how the moon controls your subconscious mind and how it's important, because it controls the female's menstrual cycle. It controls that. It gets rid of that egg. Again, without that, we wouldn't survive. This is why you don't have to necessarily worship the moon. The Elohim have said a long time ago they don't want us to worship them, which to me is worthy of being worshipped. Any God that tells me, hey, you should worship only me, no other gods. It's like, no, you're trying too hard, asshole. Fuck you. But any other God that says, don't worship me, just pay your respect and honoring, because, we did do this for you, and here's the proof that we do this for you, and you can keep measuring this and know that this is how we help you guys out. Whereas the other God in the Bible, you can't really prove any of that, right? But anyways, I'm going a little off topic, but just so you have a little peace of mind of how the moon is representative of your subconscious mind, the sun is representative of your conscious mind. Well, these are how you're consciously aware of how the sun affects you, but you're not really aware of how the moon affects you. And I just told you, through the polarity of the water in your body and through the women's menstrual cycle. Without that women's menstrual cycle happening, they wouldn't get a new egg. They'd still have an old egg in there, and then you'd have complications within birth, or they would burst, or they would die without being able to relieve that pressure, relieve the blood that filters out that old egg and puts a new egg in there. This is part of the circle of life. The women have this extra cycle within them. And, I thank the gods every day that I'm not a woman, because if I feel the way I am now, and I was actually a woman, I wouldn't be able to handle it, because I'm way too weak when it comes to all that shit to be able to do that. But anyways. All right. So, sorry about that. Being amateur. I shouldn't be amateur. Well, at least I'm not that Christian woman I try to use an example of people not having their chakras open, or being imbalanced, or not having enough info, or being ignorant, or being sociopath, laughing at the fact that whenever her Christian people killed people was okay, but then whenever magical witchcraft Satanist people sacrifice, even if, let's say, they sacrifice 15 people once a year on one holiday, but that's bad, yet her people were fucking going around killing people by the millions, and that was just laughable. Wow. That's brutal. I mean, that's not even amateur hour. That's just stupid. Who would put something out there like that, showing them their colors like that? That's just like, who would jump on board with a woman like that, saying, what she just said? I'm not saying that sacrifice was good or bad. I'm not saying they should have. I'm saying we don't have enough info to understand what they did. But anyways, I'm going to go back to that episode, but not back to that topic. On that episode, I put out at the end, there was retrograde Mercury in Scorpio, which is huge. Tricky Magic for Adrian Xavier. I think I taped some of his stuff. I don't know if I taped the right episode. I think I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, he says it's the best time to do tricky magic, glamour spells, shit like that. Wouldn't it be a funny, this would be like, this is one of his guidelines, but I'm paraphrasing, but a guideline to a spell, Wouldn't it be funny if everybody liked me? And as he was talking about, he gave the context of the story was a kid at high school who doesn't have many friends. Well, during Mercury retrograde, the way you use Mercury retrograde to your benefit would be, wouldn't it be funny if all of a sudden I became popular using Mercury as a trickster? So I'd say I wouldn't do a spell like that. I would possibly go the route of being grateful for thanking Mercury. I'm so grateful, Mercury, that you made, as unlikely as it was, you made everybody start liking me. You know what I mean? Like that, something to that effect. But the unlikely I wouldn't use because it's a negative word, and I've said the no negative thing. So check out Frederick Xavier's videos and check out Mercury retrograde. I'll play his Mercury one on here in a bit. After this, at some point, there is Planetary Magick. I'll play the Moon. I'll play Mercury. I'll play Jupiter. But I've already played Saturn. I've already played the Sun, so I'm not going to play those again. It's redundant. But I don't think it's actually on there. But maybe. I could be wrong. But if it is on there, great. And if not, go look at his channel and go see if you can find it. And I wanted to get into a little bit of that, but that's a pretty complicated topic just because there's so much to cover. Because you got to cover Mercury, you got to cover Scorpio, and you got to cover Mercury retrograde, and then you got to cover so much. It's just so much to cover, and this is my second episode already, technically. But I don't feel like getting into that because it's something that I'm not completely versed or even well versed in. I love astrology and I love learning it, but I feel like I feel like I know enough about astrology to know what to do with my chart and how to interpret it and how to give correspondences to magics and different things to the planets. But in the same sense, I'm not positive if I know enough about like retrogrades and the shadow side it goes through first, and then when it transitions and aspects and your natal chart to where the planets are right now in real time, and those aspects and all that. So when it comes to all that stuff, I'm not sure if I know enough, but I definitely know enough about like your natal chart and how to do how to read that and all the aspects there. I mean, I know as much as I possibly can know at this time. I don't know everything. Obviously, it's impossible to know everything. And the only way to know everything would be to have everybody's opinion. And some of those opinions don't even make sense. And that might be either me not ready to learn it or them being wrong. So one or the other. But anyways. So I'm not going to hit the Mercury retrograde thing yet. Although that guy I put on here said Mercury retrograde, be ready for a surprise. And in Ottawa and Montreal, they had to postpone Halloween until the weekend. So the day Mercury goes retrograde was 5 o'clock my time, my Eastern time, Canadian Eastern time, whatever you want to say, Pacific time. Atlantic. I don't even know what it is, but we're on Eastern time, and at 5 p.m. it went into it, and that's generally where the kids start trick-or-treating. The sun's still up, but it's starting to get cold because the sun's about to go down. And around that time, it started raining and the wind started picking up. And then we had a windstorm where the winds were 90 kilometers an hour, like the number 2 and the 138 are not the major highways, but, the highways you go 80 kilometers on, or in the States, you would be going like, 60 or 50 on them? No, 50 would be 80, yeah. But anyways, point is, the winds were pretty crazy, and this all started on Halloween, and right around the time Mercury went retrograde. Which is pretty crazy. So the guy I put on there was pretty bang on when he said, and Mercury retrograde is not necessarily like bad things happening, but more like annoyances, like cracking your fucking phone, which could be a pretty bad thing to some people. But for me, it's more of an annoyance because I expect it to happen, and it's just a matter of time before it happens for me, which is probably why it keeps happening. So I should probably get that idea out of my head. But nonetheless, to me, it's more of an annoyance than anything. I know a lot of people now are on this big kick that, okay, that used to be what Mercury retrograde is about, and then now all of a sudden it's not what Mercury retrograde is about, and those people are wrong. And I'm just here to say that, well, because so many people thought Mercury retrograde does that, it made it real, and so now it's one of those things that you should look out for, and that may not necessarily be because of Mercury retrograde, but because people thought it was, and still people out there that believe that it may be, and then yeah, it probably is. But anyways, that's besides the point. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that we had this crazy rain and windstorm. And even in Ottawa and Montreal, they were trick-or-treating on Friday and Saturday instead of actually doing it. Or sorry, Saturday and Sunday. Friday and Saturday. Because Halloween was on a Thursday. So, but yeah, they had to postpone Halloween. I mean, who postpones Halloween? That's the capital of Canada. Postponed Halloween. And the biggest city in Montreal postponed Halloween. Biggest city in Quebec. I think it's the capital too. But anyways, I'm not sure. But anyways, so I'm not going to hit Scorpio, Mercury, retrograde, anything like that in this video. But the energies, the Schumann resonance, okay? Those energies that the girl was talking about. And I put 2 videos of hers on there at the end. One was the first one she did, and one was the second one she did. And I didn't put the links up, I don't think, but I'll try to do that today because it's pretty cool, the graph that she shows of the energies going up. And I've watched a few different energies reports about, and these ones are actually from these scientific sites where it shows on the 24th of September, the Earth almost exploding, but like launching an excess of energy at the sun or towards the way of the sun anyways. There was a bunch of energy that came out because the sun blasted the Earth with a bunch of energy, photons, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know. I'm not even going to pretend to know. But we had a big surge of energy, which charged up all the crystals everywhere and shit like that, is what New Age was saying. And I'm not going to say this is right or wrong. I do know my crystals are pretty doing some pretty cool things lately, so I'll leave it at that. But the point is, what was the point? Oh yeah, this was a pretty cool video I saw on the Higher Self channel by this one woman, and yeah, she showed all the scientific places. So I went to see to make sure it wasn't just bullshit, especially if I'm going to regurgitate it. And these were legit sites showing this information. Now, what I mean by legit is like legitimate companies, legitimate sites. Not like NASA level, but like wants to be NASA level sites and trying to get the exposure and the coverage. So yeah, maybe they may be using this to try to make things popular. And there's always the option that they may have doctored these things, so I can't tell you if these things are real or not. But the anomalies of the Schumann resonance and all that, the woman gets into how she believes it's due to cosmic activity above us. And, there's certainly a lot of cloud coverage during the day that we can't see much. And even if there wasn't, it's very hard to see stuff during the day. But the point is, if they can predict when things are going to happen, when they know when things are going to happen, well, they're going to let the skies be not so cloudy on the days where they know not so much is going to happen. And the days where they know things are going to happen, they're going to cloud it the fuck up. So just be careful of that. But what I would say is, if you notice the clouds or there's a lot of clouds in the skies, and you can feel these little tingles. Because for me, the feelings she's talking about, I get them all. I get every single fucking one of them. And I don't like how some of these people talk because they like to pretend like they're better than people, saying they feel these things before people and all that. And it just drives me crazy when I hear people do that. So I don't ever want to come off as one of those douchebags that fucking act like, oh, I feel this and I feel that and I'm so enlightened and blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck off, man. But you saying that proves how not enlightened you fucking are. And that's the one thing I don't understand. How do these people not understand that? If you're pretending to be somebody who's awakened and enlightened, but you're going around saying, well, that's not what a real light worker is. Real light worker is this, and this is what I went through. This is why I'm so advanced, and you can be like me if you pay me, and this and that. It's like, man, that just proves how unfucking awakened and how unenlightened you really are, okay? But anyways, I do feel some of these, most of those energies that she does talk about. So I know there's some legitimacy to that. I feel it a lot around my hands, a lot around my fingertips, as if there's like a little electrical current. I can feel it right now. My thumbs, just thinking about it. There's like a small electrical current, and it is kind of annoying because it's like, it almost feels, when your hands are really dry. I don't know if you live in Canada or anywhere where it gets cold in the wintertime. When there's a lot of dry heat around, your hands can get this weird, annoying feeling of dry heat. It's like that, but with an electrical sensation on top of that around my fingertips that I get. That's the best I can describe it in our English language. And other than that, I don't know what else to do. But there's like an electrical current feeling. Like, I almost used to think there was a bug on me, but there's never a bug there. And I can still feel it even though I'm staring at nothing on my hand. And my hand is very dry. And if there was an electrical current, electricity around there, it would do that to your hand. So that's logical to think, why I get that dry hand feeling. Because if there's electricity going through my hand, it would make it feel kind of dry. It would kind of move the oils away, move the water away, right? Or at least electro or magnetize the water or whatever, get rid of it somehow. But yeah, so I get those more than anything, and I get them sporadically throughout the day. But I do get them mostly at nighttime. The headaches I was getting, all the different things she was saying I was getting, and the days I notice them happening more are the really cloudy days. When I see it's a cloudy day, I tend to have more headaches. I tend to have more of these electrical feelings. I tend to have more of these things. So maybe look out for that. Maybe take a look outside, and if you're having these symptoms, just see if you can see something. Because we don't know what's going on. We don't know if they're hiding that or not. I like to pump that notion that, they put the clouds up in the sky to hide all the fireballs that I've seen and other people have recorded. And, I can put information on here about asteroids hitting in Canada as recent as in August. All right. Some people found the piece of the rock. Maybe I will actually play that. This is on like major media stands, right? And you're going to say, okay, well, there's a reason they play that for sure. 100%. It's the whole UFO narrative. They want people to think things are falling from the skies, but it doesn't change the fact that something actually fell from the sky. Whether it's from them or us, or from aliens or us, meaning governments of the world, who knows? I mean, only analysis of that rock will be able to tell you if it's actually from space or if it originates from Earth. And we're going to get scientists that are going to tell us whatever we want to hear. So that's going to be accurate. But point is it's very likely that things above us are affecting us. And there's also the 5G thing that Max Egan talks about so much. 5G is supposed to be coming online very soon. If we're feeling all this extra energy and electricity around us, is it just spiritual, or is it due to the fact that they're amping some things up and we just don't know about it? And then some people that are more sensitive to this stuff are feeling it. Or maybe everybody's feeling this. Maybe everybody's feeling this. Who knows? And maybe it's only the spiritual people talking about it. And all the people who aren't spiritual aren't hearing it, but they're feeling it just the same. Who knows? And if that's the case, I'd say, then, yeah, it's more likely to be some fucking 5G, some radiation, some other shit. But if it's not, if it's only a certain amount of people feeling it, then yeah, it's something spiritual going on or whatever. But I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. I think I gave enough info with planetary shit and the dream shit at the beginning and all that. Well, I'll fill up the rest of the time with a bunch of New Age stuff I taped. Like I said, I'm going to put Freighter on here, explaining the Mercury, the Moon, and all that. And a few other things. So I hope you enjoyed the shows for today. I had 2 of them put on here. And yeah, I hope you have a good fucking day. Have a great November.
Mercury, the messenger of the gods, a seemingly small but incredibly important planet. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun and therefore will never be more than 28 degrees away from the Sun. A full sign is 30 degrees. So it's always within one sign's length. Mercury rules over such things as the intellect. Mercury is the clever one out of the 7 traditional planets. It governs over communication. You can get an idea of the state that someone's Mercury is in simply from the way they communicate. If they use a lot of big, overblown words and nerd speak, they may have a strong Mercury placement, but it's also probably negatively aspected from other planets as well, making them highly intelligent, but not very effective communicators with other people, normal people. People often look to the other planets when they want something, such as Jupiter for money, Venus for love, and yet Mercury plays such an important role because without it, we couldn't communicate. And communication plays such an important role in today's society with the internet and cell phones and all these communication devices that Mercury rules over. Mercury also rules over travel. Mercury rules over commerce and business dealings. Commercials, where it needs to communicate to you to persuade you to purchase a product and engage in commerce. It even has ties to healing, for the Archangel Raphael has aspects to Mercury. Best invoked on a Wednesday. Both Mercury and Raphael hold the caduceus in their hand. You know the caduceus as the medical symbol with the twin snakes wrapped around the staff, with the wings on the top. Mercury is associated with the element of air. Very swift, very fast. One way I like to employ Mercury is when I order something online and I need it very quickly. But most of the time I don't, and I can wait around for things. But there are occasions when I need things to get here quickly, and I order a lot of things from California. Just to give you an idea, I've had things from China arrive quicker than from California before. So what I do is I take an orange candle, usually just a small votive candle will do, and I'll hold it in my hand while I rock out to Speed King by Deep Purple. And not just rocking out, but literally running around and bouncing off the walls while visualizing my package traveling from California to here with extraordinary speed. Commerce, travel, speed, all the things that Mercury excels at. I'll then take the candle, I'll dress it with some road opener oil, and I'll burn it on my altar. My packages tend to arrive very quickly when I do this. I've done invocations of Mercury within waiting rooms to where I feel the winged helmet on my head and the winged shoes on my feet. And I start to hold the caduceus in my hand. And as soon as I feel that caduceus in my hand, the door opens, they call my name, and I sit back there. And that's with a packed waiting room where people have been there longer than I have. And for those of you who have purchased the Words of Power program and what we learned about the will have a better understanding of how I can do an invocation of Mercury in a waiting room. Now, I don't usually have to invoke Mercury in those situations because I know that I'm going to a place where I'd be in a waiting room, and I would prepare by dressing myself with oils, which will be another lesson for another time. But I have found it useful on occasion. Mercury's tarot card is the Magician. So if you want to do successful magic, you should be on good terms with Mercury. He is the messenger of the gods and to the gods, after all. Extremely important in ceremonial magic. We face east. There's the element of air, the quarter of Raphael, Hermes, Mercury is the ruler of the signs Gemini and Virgo. The part of the body that Gemini governs is the lungs and hands, and Virgo governs the digestive system. That's quite a bit of real estate for such a small planet, and it will give you an idea of how important Mercury is to magic when you do your relaxation breathing exercises and gestures with your hands, and why the grimoires of old will tell you to fast before doing an operation of evocation of spirits. Now, Mercury is retrograde at the moment. The retrograde period is when the planet appears to be moving backwards in the sky, which happens to Mercury more than any other planet simply because it's closest to the Sun. Now, many people equate Mercury retrograde to Murphy's Law, where everything goes wrong, but typically this is a time where communications and travel will be impeded. Things such as computers and phones and, my cable service may go down for a while within a Mercury retrograde, as an example. When Mercury retrogrades around the holidays, travel can be quite an issue. Since time, Mercury takes on its trickster aspect. How one is affected and how strongly they're affected pretty much is determined by where Mercury is when it retrogrades and its aspects to your own planet placements, particularly to your own Mercury placement in your natal chart. I've had really, really rough Mercury retrogrades, and I've had very easy Mercury retrogrades where virtually nothing happens. Now, from a magical standpoint, a Mercury retrograde is the best. Visionary, such as glamour spells. I've had great success to do any tricky or deceptive magic. Things that are illusionary, such as glamour spells. I've had great success with those for clients during retrogrades. Or any other type of work where you want to get someone to see things differently than they normally would. Mercury likes to play tricks during this time, and so the trickier the work, the better during a retrograde. Not baneful or harmful, just more humorous, as if it's a big joke. Messing with people to confuse them, that type of thing. So, communications, commerce, travel, magic, the element of air. We talked a bit about form and force and how that's needed for magic. Mercury is the form. Mercury is the planet of intelligence. So if you want to learn things, study, that's the planet to work with, to get the knowledge, to be smarter, to communicate better. So Mercury is a very, very important planet to get to know, especially to those of you who want to learn magic. As I said in the very beginning, that magic is based upon the 7 Hermetic principles. Hermetic, Hermes, equals Mercury, and we'll let that sink in. So, speaking of communications, I know I've been a bit behind in my messages, and all the things that YouTube have changed around this year makes it even more difficult to get back to people. I'm definitely behind. I may have to do another mailbag video to catch up on them all. I have read them, I just have not had the time to respond to all of them. And the longer that they are, the less likely I am to get back to them anytime soon. So another video maybe in order to try to get to some of those. Also, in association with Mercury, if you haven't signed up for the Laws of Magic, be sure to do so. That series is going to start on October 29th. I'll put the signs that is a lunar cycle, which is a month. As it traverses the signs and takes on the energies of those signs, people's moods change. The moon is a receptive planet with associations to the element of water. And we see this as it governs the tides. And our bodies are mostly made up of water, and therefore it has an effect on us as well. The moon governs women's menstrual cycles, that time of the lunar cycle, that time of the month, and their mood will change. And so we have a watery, receptive, feminine planet. And anything receptive is feminine, and anything projective is masculine. Now, during this lunar cycle, the moon will wax and wane. Waxing being growing larger in the sky to full, and waning being diminishing in light and disappearing into nothingness. And this is the cycle of all things. During your life, you will wax to midlife, and then after midlife, you will start to decline. All things grow, and then they decline and die. A celebrity's fame will grow until the height of their popularity to full, and then it will decline, and then nobody cares about them anymore. This is just an example. Start looking for the waxing and waning in things, and you'll get the pendulum swing. You get that natural rhythm down. Most people are out of rhythm with the natural cycle. You should be starting your important projects right after the new moon while the moon is waxing, while it's growing. I learned that I was out of rhythm when I would have a compulsion to start things during the waning phase. Okay, and then things wouldn't turn out. You want to start them during the waxing phase, unless you're trying to rid yourself of something or banish it. Then the waning phase is good for a purge. Align yourself with the natural cycle, with these natural cycles. It will make your life a lot easier. Instead of fighting against the current, now you're working with it. And it sounds a lot like our two pillars, doesn't it? And this is why the tarot card, the High Priestess, is associated with the moon. You would think that the tarot card, the moon, would be associated with the moon, but it's the High Priestess. And the moon lies at her feet. Because in order to reach the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity, you have to go through the moon. On the Tree of Life, the moon corresponds with the Sephiroth of Yesod. And we said in order to do successful magic, you have to combine force and form. Netzach and Hod, Mercury and Venus, those two Sephiroths. The only way to get to them is through the moon. If you go the other path separately in path working, you can reach Netzach and Hod, but you're not combining them unless you're going through the moon. And this is where the element of water with the moon becomes very important, because we said that the association with the element of water is the emotions. And too many people focus on the visualization around the chart. by the sun, we said, was representative of the conscious mind. In other words, the moon is receptive to the light of the sun and will reflect that light down to Malkuth. And in this way, we can consciously impress upon our subconscious to carry out our magic. And this is why a lot of rituals are timed around the full moon, when it is the most impressionable. Wiccans and pagans are trained to do this, whether they're consciously aware of why or not, but they get the natural rhythms. And it's also why they're focused on the goddess. The goddess is the moon. Well, one of them. There are actually many, but that feminine receptivity for your general spell work, it's usually going to be the moon. The moon and the sun, a very large breath, expansive energy of Jupiter. Conversely, if she has restrictive Saturn in Cancer, she will have very small breasts. And this has been the case in every instance that I've seen it. Cancer is also associated with the home, where your home is. That's where people feel the most safe and secure. The savvy magician makes changes in his life by making changes to himself by use of magic and the moon. Because the moon makes it difficult for one to step outside of their comfort zone due to those past impressions made upon it. So the magician creates a new comfort zone by making new impressions upon it that are stronger than the old. And that's really how it's done. But the timing has to be with the natural cycle. And so the moon is like the valve. The Sephirot of Yesod is like the valve between the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity. When it's waxing to full, it's opening the floodgate to the pillar of mercy, and when it's waning to new is when it's opening up to the pillar of severity. Now, that's not to say that your magic won't succeed if you're working against the natural rhythm, but you're swimming against the current if you do so. But if you need to have something done and you need it right away, you got to work with what you have. But it's always best to go with the natural rhythm and cycle. The other important thing to know about when it comes to astrology and magic and combining those two in association with the moon is you need to be aware of what is called void of course. The moon is void of course when it's about to change signs every 2.5 days and has no other aspects to any other planets before it changes signs. The time of which is going to vary. Sometimes it could take a couple hours, sometimes it could take most of that 2.5 days. Now, while the moon is changing energy at this time, it is considered to be unstable, and therefore any magic that you do during the void of course is bound to fail. Plan your magic around the moon being void of course. And this is yet another way that people are out of sync with the natural cycle. Many people have a compulsion to start things or to begin new endeavors when the moon is void of course, and they don't come to fruition. So when you get an urge or a compulsion to begin a new project or to begin something important, it's good to look at your chart to see where the planets are, what they're doing, what sign they're in, and if the moon is void of course, and if it's waxing and waning. Find out how far out of rhythm you are and start to realign yourself back to the natural cycle of things. And it should go without saying that the best time to do white magic is when the moon is full. And the best time to do black magic is when the moon is new or black, the most Saturn-like. Because when the moon's full, it's the most impressionable. It will receive the most light from the sun, the most light from the conscious mind, in order to bring things into your life. For getting rid of things and banishing, the new moon is best. The uncrossing ritual that we talked about previously is best done before a new moon. Other things about the moon, it governs the sign of Cancer, as we said, which is cardinal water. So it's the beginning water, beginning emotions. It rules over the fourth house, which is the house of the home, safety and security, which we touched on a bit previously in the Jupiter in Cancer video. Instead of taking the direct approach, the sign of Cancer tends to sidestep things and go about things in a roundabout manner, just like the crab walks sideways. It does this in its association with safety and security, where the direct approach seems too risky. And we see this in the video of Jupiter in Cancer, where instead of just giving the homeless guy $1,000, he went a roundabout way, making him believe he just won the lottery. So let's say you're doing some magic while the moon's in Cancer. That magic is probably going to manifest in a roundabout way. It probably won't be as direct as you may wish it to be. And maybe this will open up a whole new line of thinking for you in dealing with the moon and where it is astrologically. So, to recap real quick, the moon, watery, cardinal water, receptive, feminine, reflective. Water is reflective, is it not? Mother, goddess, safety and security, the home, early childhood, past reflections, waxing and waning, subconscious receptivity, avoid the void of course, align yourself to the natural cycle, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Dinner.
Hi, Brader, just to tell you that I would love to see your video on Jupiter, the only planet remaining. Well, let's go ahead and do that right now, shall we? The Roman god Jupiter is the equivalent of the Greek god Zeus, god of thunder, king of the gods. And in astrology, Jupiter is the benevolent king. He is known as the greater benefict, as most aspects to him are going to be beneficial. Jupiter is all about expansion and growth. So whatever Jupiter comes into contact with is going to expand that. So whereas Saturn is restrictive, Jupiter is expansive. And so those two planets are opposites in that regard. Jupiter is the planet of faith and optimism. Faith in a religion or a belief, an ideology. And you can see this in the signs that it rules over, which are Sagittarius and Pisces. Pisces also being co-ruled with Neptune. Sagittarius is all about seeking the truth, higher learning along with religion. And the motto for Pisces is, I believe. Jupiter is very optimistic, looking on the bright side of things. Jupiter is very jovial. In fact, the word jovial is derived from Jupiter. Jove is another name for Jupiter. Jovial is friendly, cheerful, jolly, and you can see this aspect of Jupiter this time of year in Santa Claus, a big old jolly fat guy bestowing gifts upon everyone. I would add that on top of being jovial, that Jupiter is the best storyteller. We all know that one guy at the party that everybody likes, that always has the best stories, that can make everybody laugh. And what you're witnessing there is a really good placement of his Jupiter in action. However, the thing to keep in mind is that due to the expansive nature of Jupiter, those kind of stories are prone to exaggeration, embellishment, and are added on to. It's not that they didn't happen, it's just that Jupiter likes to make it bigger than it actually was. Jupiter is also a planet of protection. Wherever Jupiter falls in your chart, you're going to have some inherent protection, a natural protection in that area, because Jupiter is the big guy that's going to take the hits for you. Whereas Mars is the sword, Jupiter is the shield. And so Jupiter is an excellent protector. And those are the main aspects of Jupiter in astrology. It's quite easy to see how Jupiter is so well liked and considered the greater benefit. But as with all planets, there is also a dark side, even in an optimistic planet such as Jupiter. Because Jupiter is all about expansion and more, left unchecked, Jupiter can lead to excess. To Jupiter, too much of a good thing doesn't apply. However, we know that anything in excess is going to lead to an imbalance. And this is where the polarity of Jupiter and Saturn play out, where Saturn creates the boundaries and restricts Jupiter from taking things too far. And this is the reason why Saturn is a higher planet than Jupiter. It has to be in order to keep Jupiter's tendency for excess under control. Another negative side of Jupiter is in faith, blind faith. Taken to extremes is where you get your fanaticism, religious fanaticism, political fanaticism, any faith in an ideology taken to extremes. Again, you're seeing that the negative side of Jupiter is in its tendency to have more of something, to expand upon something, and not realizing the boundary. You see this in the disease of cancer, where cells start rapidly dividing and multiplying in uncontrolled growth. Cancer is a Jupiterian disease. It doesn't recognize the limits and boundaries set for it and doesn't stop. Even the jolly, cheerful guy with all the stories can have a dark side to it, as he can come across as boastful and bragging if Jupiter is poorly aspected. So yeah, as long as you keep Jupiter in check and recognize the boundaries, Jupiter will easily be your best friend in your chart. When doing planetary magic, if you want more of something, Jupiter is the planet to work with. Keep in mind, though, that Jupiter's job is to expand, so there must be something there for it to expand upon. If I needed more money and was flat broke, I would probably turn to Venus instead. But if I already have money and I need more money, then Jupiter would be the planet to work with. And you can see the effects of Jupiter in the chart on the body, physically. If you have Jupiter in Aries, you may have a big head. In Gemini, may give you large hands. Sagittarius, you may have large eyes or thighs. The women I know with Jupiter in Cancer are large-breasted, whereas women with Saturn in Cancer will typically be small-breasted. I myself happen to be blessed with Jupiter in Scorpio. So, not to brag or anything, but if I was, it would only be another example of Jupiter. Let's just say that Jupiter is a very benevolent king indeed, and leave it at that. Jupiter likes to bestow his gifts as it is the planet of charity in association with its co-ruled sign of Pisces. So, I hope we all learned something today, as Jupiter is the planet of teaching and higher learning as well. So, with our knowledge having been expanded, I will end this here, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
The Elohim, We Are Here by John J. Castle, August 31st, 2016. Website, newsununity.com. Produced by Higher Self.
We are very pleased and happy that you have called for us. You may not be consciously aware that you called for us, but we are here nevertheless. We are the creative force of the source, God. We are the unmanifest force behind all form in the entire universe. We are pure life force, pure creative impulse. We are the breath of God. Every being and every entity in the universe is sourced from our center. We created your essence, your soul, your God self. We are the energy that makes your heart beat in rhythm. We are your urge to breathe. We are an essential part of your being. We do not ask that you worship us. We do not ask that you see us as outside of yourselves. Go to your very center. We are sleeping there. We are not awake inside your physical human bodies as of yet, but there will come a day when we will awaken in the cells of your body. The energy of our life force will ripple and vibrate within the very atoms. When this day arrives, you will have access to the creative aspect of your being. Do you know the extent of your creative power? Do you know what you are capable of? This world in which you live, you created. This galaxy in which your planet sits, you created. This universe in which you live is your design. You were once as we are now. You were once Elohim, but you have forgotten these times. You will remember and awaken, as if awakening from a deep sleep, little bit by bit. You will remember, feel the truth of our words. Stars were birthed from the essence of your being. You sang the song of creation. The universe came to be through you. We would like to talk to you about the energy called grace. Grace is a frequency. It is possible to bring the energy of grace into your physical body, for it moves through the gaps that separates molecules. For grace can move through anything, like a cool breeze on a summer's day. It can also clear pain from the body. All pain is chosen, whether it manifests emotionally, mentally, or physically. Much of the pain that you experience in your body is karmic. It came about through the laws of cause and effect. Grace can give you instant healing, clear your karma, and remove negativity from the cells of the body. It can also align the four bodies: the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Grace has not been present on your planet for a very long time. In the times of Christ, a great wave of grace swept across the planet. It removed many layers of karmic patterning within your time frame. It would have been impossible to remove this karma through any other means. Christ's body was used to hold and channel this frequency onto the planet. He brought a great service to you as human beings. In the year 2003, it will be possible for everyone to access and anchor the energy of grace. Through your request, it will channel your body and radiate out to affect the surrounding space. Move into prayer. Prayer will have a much more powerful effect if intended within the energy of grace. Many humans on the planet are looking for miracles, instant transformation. However, up until this point in time, it has been very difficult to achieve this. As these waves of grace sweeps the planet, miracles and instant transformation will occur. It will be possible to instantly transform all karma on this planet, if your belief systems will allow it to be so. The Creator does not want you to live in karmic cycles any longer. It is your soul that chooses to carry on this wheel of karma over and over. It is not necessary or required. Many of you believe that you must suffer for the things you did in past lives. Forgive yourselves. You have a tendency to not forgive yourselves. You hold on to your negativity. You insist on your pain. Grace will bring you a choice. There will be two realities occurring on your planet, one of a karmic nature and one of grace. For those who insist on suffering karma, the reality will remain. For those who can find forgiveness for themselves within their heart, will move into the reality and the energy of grace. They will free themselves to be the God selves they know themselves to be. You must ask yourself why you want to suffer. Why do you choose the hard way? Why do you choose the rocky path? Why do you not choose to ride this wave of grace to the very source of your creation? When you find negative feelings arising in the body, call in the energy of grace. It will ripple through the negative patterning that hold the emotions, and the transformation will be speeded up. There is a time frame for the transformation of your planet. The goddess has a design. There is not enough time for you to process all of your karma, and that is why the waves of grace have been made available to you to speed up this process. The beginning of this energy started in 2003. The waves will increase in intensity. First, they will be gentle and subtle. They will raise the energy in the physical body. As the atoms align themselves with the energy of grace, you will be more and more capable of holding this energy in your bodies. You are beautiful beings. Forgive yourselves and come home. We welcome you with open arms. The choice is yours. There are many souls that will not choose the quickened way, but as you do, you will be an example. As we said, the energy of grace is a very high frequency. It will take much dedication and focus to hold this energy in the body. There were people who reached up in the year 2003 that opened up to work with this energy. Experiment, as there is no right or wrong way to achieve this healing. For some, the energy of the breath will be very important. Some will channel the energy of grace through the palms of the hands, placing the energy into the etherical bodies of those they want to heal. It has been a very long time since grace has been used here on the planet. This is a space of experimentation. Even the ancient peoples who you consider to be more enlightened than modern-day man, even they did not have access to the energy of grace. A wave of grace was not originally planned for Earth. It was thought by the source the healing could occur without it. It began to become evident that it was not possible to clear all karmic patterning before the shift of your planet through the Elohim heart. We wished this for you. We heard your prayers for forgiveness. We heard your cries for love, and we will respond. Take up the challenge and be the pioneers of grace. We are beyond color. We vibrate at a level that is beyond what you can see with your eyes. We contain all colors. Yet we are beyond what you know on Earth. There is a frequency that you can align with, that is like a midway station between us. Breathe in the energy of ultraviolet. See this color flooding the auric field. This will take you up very quickly through the dimensions. It will bring you to a level where you can communicate with us. Be wary when you use this in your meditation. Make sure you use the opposite red to ground your base after your meditation. Ultraviolet will very quickly pull you out of the physicalness of your body. Many of you find staying in the physical forms a very hard thing to do. Practice this with caution. The creative process should always be inside the body. You are all the Elohim. You are the creative force of the universe. Take a deep breath and know this in the cells of your body. The game of Earth was to choose negativity over positivity. At first this was a game and you did it for fun. However, you have played the game so long that you have taken it to be reality. It is habitual to choose negativity over positivity. You are addicted to pain over forgiveness. There is no belief in your systems that says that God will grace you with the birth of the physical body of humanity. A program was inserted into the DNA. This program was one of sin. Every human being on this planet is programmed with the base belief that they are sinners. A wave of grace will sweep through this karmic patterning. If you will allow this, will you allow this? All time is occurring in one space. Every one of you has a future being, and the energy of this being you are integrating into your physical being. You are pulling future realities into your now moment. In some ways you have already walked the path back to the source. In some ways you are retracing your own steps. This return to source goes on in every single second and moment. There are cycles within cycles. Every one of you is distanced from the source, and you have also returned home. In this limited reality of your human existence, it appears as if you still have a long way to go. As the wave of grace sweeps the planet, you will get momentary glimpses into the aspect of self that has already found their way home. In these moments you will feel bliss in your physical body. These moments will increase. The length of experience will increase. Then you will realize there are two aspects to the self. One who is still walking the path home, and one who has already arrived. These concepts are very difficult for you to understand with the limited human mind. There are many yous, living in many time frames, many dimensions, all in the same now moment. This planet that you live on will not change, but you will. What will change is your consciousness. You will know through the vibrations in the cells of your body that you are God. And there is no separation between you and your outside reality. You will see consciousness everywhere. With this new shift in consciousness, many things will change on your planet. You will see through a clearer lens. The energy of the new planet is one of non-judgment. If you look upon your world and want it to change, then this is a form of judgment. The new planet is not a future possibility. It is in the now moment. Little by little, you will remove the sleepiness of your forgetting, and then you will see that the new planet is already here. We breathe love into your bodies. The Elohim.
Hello everyone. After all these weeks of super waves, since early September at least, coming into the planet and leaving many reeling from the onslaught of the energies, I connected with the Elohim to find out more about this very unusual energetic landscape. The Paxters are consistently reporting such extreme cleansing, and this really triggers my sense of compassion for each and every one of them, as I myself have also been challenged while adjusting to these waves. I know there are many lightworkers worldwide who are also feeling the intensity of these waves, even if they just recently opened up to the frequencies as second wavers. As the Elohim confirm, no one is immune to the effects of these current waves whether they feel them or not. I hope that all of you who are reading this know that you are moving the ascension forward by contributing on so many levels and in every state of awareness you hold, especially during your nighttime sleep state. These energies are powerful, and GRG and I have likened the whole experience to standing under the Niagara Falls. The purpose of these waves is to shake up the world, and this is exactly what they are doing. This message conveys to me that the Elohim are leaving hints about other themes that have come up in a healing meditation with our friend Julia 2 days ago. GRG has added his energy report at the bottom of this post explaining the events that were carried out during this meeting. The message confirms our perception of a highly unusual set of waves that are steady, powerful, and even very colorful at times. The waves are here to augment the ascension event now by applying strategic pressure to superimposed energetic systems, including the personal body, mind, spirit complex, as well as all forms of societal infrastructure. The Elohim have not provided specifics, only that this instability will affect the world on many levels. The Elohim have also described a meditation with which we are able to process these negative energies in the best way possible. They speak about our nature to command the light, and that this is our time now to consciously do this. This meditation is very quickly done, and it moves all negative energy thoroughly. If done on a daily basis, all rampant negative energies flowing through our fields will be eliminated from this ever-expanding plane of existence. My sincere wish for each and every one of you is that you traverse this moment in time as easily as is possible, and that you feel stronger in yourselves, knowing that these energies have a clear purpose to move all of us along our true evolutionary path. Much love to all. Carla.
We are the Elohim, and we greet you now on a platform of peace, a platform of calming energy. There are expansive waves of light coming to you in a steady stream, and they are of cosmic origin and of divine ordinance. The light of which we speak is the unseen light. The light coming from the primary causal fields of all that is, of which you are each a part. This light is felt by many and seen by few, but no one is immune to their effect. This light is arriving in continual waves and has as its objective to dismantle the intransigent energies that humanity loves to so dearly cling on to. Many of you are feeling the deep discontent of a reality gone astray, if not mad. The consensual reality began to churn and froth some time ago, and now the energies of all the lowest vibrations are thrown about your fields as never before. The presence of these energies are clues to a further deepening of societal instability. All of you have noticed the anger and resentment, the frustration and exasperation of a planet gone mad from emotional imbalance, lack of rationality, and the force of the unclear mind. You are asking yourselves and those around you, where is the sanity? What are we doing as a collective? Why are we settling for more status quo, mediocrity, and empty nonsensical explanations? These are the thoughts that flood our awareness, not only yours. It resembles, indeed, the perfect energetic storm. The energies you feel coming into your collective fields are imbalanced packets of light that are being shed from the majority of humanity that is now also immersed in this ongoing wave of overwhelming release of the energies and their ways to lower vibrational existence that represent lives of chaos, malintent, disorder, and a lack of compassion. These are the operational constructs of the now dying reality. This is the perfect storm, and within this storm you shall find the counterbalance, and in fact you shall create the counterbalance. As the fear-based energies of the earth are released by each and every one of you, it is your priority and keen sense of responsibility that demands of you your utmost strength of character to flood these feelings and thoughts with a bevy of divine light that surrounds you in infinite beauty, and in every moment. This moment is commanding your attention, and it is this moment that requires you to command the light. The age of control is complete for now. All energetic structures founded in the force of control are flooded with light to realign and re-energize them, to return each and every one of you to the age of unification. You are being challenged now to release the overlays of planet Earth from all multidimensional aspects of yourselves. Within the release is wrapped the power of the gift that lies within each and every one of you, the immutable power to command the light, and through the power of your soul's domain you may now choose a new path, one of integrity, high morality, acceptance of your own inner truth. And with this choice made in full and utterly complete surrender to the power of your soul, you then claim, in all perpetuity, your truth, your commitment to our Gaia and the humanity that needs your guidance at this dark hour. As the launched rocket vibrates and shakes as it pulls against the gravitation of your planet, you are also feeling the heaviness and scattered energies of the rough ride demanding your attention. Let go of these energies, let them go through dedicated breath work and their conscious release into a ball of golden violet light, of infinite capacity, to be returned to the central sun for the balancing and reunification with all. Once released, negativity frees one to master the energies of balanced acceptance and the embracing of those energies that you know to reflect each and every one of those who hold the sincere desire to move beyond the reality that surrounds you now, and to which you feel you have lost all affiliation to. Now you are feeling so strongly, even more than ever, that you have absolutely no connection to the reality before you, nor do you carry any more the recognition of anything that supports your soul's evolution and truth. As you feel these strong sentiments, know that you are now fully and finally moving out beyond the confines of this expression into a whole new expanded reality, the fifth dimension. Your consciousness is now expanding moment by moment. This is a precious moment as every action flows beautifully in a divinely guided progression. Everyone is doing their own part, and there are many parts to play in this play. All is in order as it is. It is the perfect storm. We are the Elohim, and we do love you completely.
We are the Elohim, the rainbow warriors, the bringers of
Energetic report from October 24th, 2016. Yesterday evening, after I had recovered somewhat from the steady, heavy blast of energy, and my headache, dizziness, and nausea had subsided, GRG called me to come look out of the window, and there we saw a beautiful rainbow in the northeast. It was a vertical pillar of rainbow stripes that rose up into the sky before melting into a sea of deep gray cloud cover. A storm had just rolled through. We were both happy to see this rainbow, but at the same time we noticed there was something in the air that was
Ashta, hello Sharon Leo. Hello Ashta. So, you do exist. LOL Ashta, of course I do. Any rumor and the contrary is simply a rumor started by the dark forces of evil. They would love to create timelines where we of the higher echelons of your universe greet you. We are the light that you are connected with for your journey upon Earth, to protect and to love you as you learn to do the same for yourself. You are powerful beings who do not know the full capacity you have at your hand. Whatever you imagine, you can achieve. We of the angelic realms work with you to help you achieve life mastery upon Earth. In this moment, the dark and the light are deep in battle, and your work is pivotal to the success of the light. Yes, it has been won on many timelines already, but there is more battle being conducted in many more timelines. You can affect these as well. Send your other selves love. Send them strength. You are the strong ones, here as you approach the fifth dimensions. Your other selves are not as strong and have been weakened by the dark on those timelines. Send them love. Send them your strength. This is a battle of love for all of your Earths. We have opened new portals for love to come to your planet, to assist you in raising your light. To keep your light for yourself is not the purpose of it, as the purpose of life itself is to assist others. Humans are social beings, connected through energy at all levels, and it is with this that you can assist your other selves in helping liberate other humans. There will be more light coming to your Earth soon. You will grow and change, and this is required for you to be the leaders of the humans on Earth to a new dimension of love, joy and freedom you have never known the depths of. Exercise your power today to help others in need. Realize your true capability and use it for the good of all. In love, I remain. Archangel Michael.
There is one prediction that can be found both in the Book of Revelations and the Emerald Tablets, forecasting something really exciting. It says that there will be an incarnation of 144,000 lightworkers who will save Earth from the forces of darkness during the end times of the Kali Yuga. The most interesting part about this prediction is the realization that most of these light workers are now here and in the process of waking up to their divine purpose and mission on Earth. The majority of them might not even know or remember who they really are. According to spiritual teachers and psychics, the cellular memories of the 144,000 were programmed, timed, and triggered to go off at this time and awaken them to their true identity, mission, and purpose for incarnating on Earth at this most crucial time in Earth's history. What does saving the world mean? The term saving the planet carries a wrong connotation, and that's why most people don't understand what we really mean. It's not literally about the planet Earth. The Earth is fine with or without us. There's not going to be an epic fight between the dark and the light. At least not here in the physical realm. We need saving as a species. There is something rotten deep in our collective psyche and we need to deal with it. The darkness are simply the projection of this shadow we need to face deep in ourselves. Light workers are people who heal on many levels. They heal mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. They do this through their work and their energy if they learn to control and manage it. That's why they are the ones who will save the world from the forces of darkness, because they will help us heal the shadows of humanity. And the number is just a sacred quantity that, if reached, creates a powerful wave that cannot be stopped. It creates a wave that will wash the whole world from its negative behavior that's retarding our true potential of love. It's like when you try to stop fire from spreading. If you extinguish a certain amount of that fire, the rest will simply extinguish by itself. There are 10 common traits among fellow lightworkers. All of them experienced most of these in the process of their awakening. If you experience any of these characteristics, you are one of the 144,000 prophesized lightworkers that will save the world. 1. You are always identifying with heroic characters and superheroes. And you still do, even if you are an adult now. 2. You have a deep purpose that not a lot of people know about. You might not be sure yourself, but you just know you were meant for something bigger. 3. You have an inner understanding about spiritual concepts, higher knowledge, and cosmic wisdom that feels natural to you. 4. You love people, but you hate them at the same time. And this is so confusing to you. It's like you unconditionally love who they are at their core, but you hate all the junk that's preventing them from shining, like their ego, addictions, stupid decisions, and negativity. 5. You might have panic attacks
That
dualities into oneness, like science and spirituality, psychology and philosophy, technology and nature. We have reached and entered the 11th hour of the great change that is taking place on Earth. The time has come for the remaining lightworkers to awaken so we can. You love to merge, do what makes you feel has meaning for you. Or simply, live through your heart. Resonate with love. That's all we really need to heal humanity.